This powerful tip I'm about to give you in this video will make her lose interest in other guys and make you her number one. I'm Isabella Grace, a specialist in relationships and attraction, and I help men become confident, secure, and capable of winning over a high-value woman. Now, you might be wondering if it's even worth investing in a woman who has a lot of contacts, someone who talks to multiple men at the same time. I completely understand your concern, your hesitation, but here's what you need to know. If a woman isn't in a committed relationship, nothing stops her from talking to and getting to know other people. There's no exclusivity if there's no commitment yet, and this applies to both sides. Of course, if you've started seeing a woman and you realize she's worth it, that she's a high-value woman and is being reciprocal, it's only common sense not to be dating multiple women at the same time. You wouldn't want to risk ruining something that has the potential to become a solid, lasting relationship. And in the same way, it's just common sense for a woman to have the same approach. But until that point, it's completely natural for a woman to talk to multiple people to figure out which man is the best match for her. In fact, I even recommend that you talk to multiple women yourself. This helps you develop your conversation skills, improve your social confidence, and become better at relationships overall. Now here's the big truth. The moment you become the number one man in a woman's mind, she loses interest in responding to other guys. She starts waiting anxiously for your messages, excited to talk to you. Why? Because her thoughts and desires are all focused on you. Naturally, she starts ignoring the other men. This is a natural female instinct. Women tend to develop a subconscious loyalty to their own emotions. Their feelings guide them to think and act in the direction of the man they're falling for. So you might be asking, hi, how do I make a woman lose interest in other guys and make myself her number one? Now here's the big truth. The moment you become the number one man in a woman's mind, she loses interest in responding to other guys. She starts waiting anxiously for your messages, excited to talk to you. Why? Because her thoughts and desires are all focused on you. Naturally, she starts ignoring the other men. This is a natural female instinct. Women tend to develop a subconscious loyalty to their own emotions. Their feelings guide them to think and act in the direction of the man they're falling for. So you might be asking, how do I make a woman lose interest in other guys and make myself her number one? There's a saying that goes, the value of things isn't in how long they last, but in the intensity with which they happen. That's why there are unforgettable moments, inexplicable things, and incomparable people. And that's exactly what connection is. Creating an intense emotional experience right from the start. Now you might think this requires a huge effort, that you have to try really hard in conversations, do everything perfectly, and go above and beyond to impress her. But actually, it's the opposite. Being an attractive man who knows how to build a strong connection with a woman has nothing to do with trying too hard. But instead, it's about being strategic and using the right words. Most people, both men and women, only know how to have shallow conversations. So when you show up knowing how to establish a deep connection, you immediately stand out. That's why building a strong emotional connection is the first key to making a woman lose interest in other men and making yourself her number one. The second golden rule, admiration. Now, the second crucial element, one that goes hand in hand with connection, is admiration. You might be wondering, how do I make a woman admire me? Here's what you need to understand. For a woman to admire you, she has to give you power. You cannot hand over your personal power to her. No, she needs to recognize and grant you that power herself. Mental power. A woman gives you this mental power when she sees value in you. And this is where most men go wrong. Many guys give away their power the moment they meet a woman. They declare their feelings too soon, telling her how amazing she is, how they're completely in love, how they never imagined someone like her would even notice them. And the moment they do this, they lose admiration in her eyes. She starts seeing them as less valuable. So how do you make a woman grant you power? It's not by treating her with arrogance or acting superior. Instead, it's about understanding the key elements that make a woman see value in a man and therefore give him power. For example, let's say you've established an emotional connection with a woman. She's enjoying the conversation, laughing and engaging. She asks you something about yourself and the conversation deepens. Then suddenly you leave the conversation because you have something important to do. Detachment. Detachment is one of the biggest factors that makes a woman respect and admire you. Here's something important to understand. Humans, especially women, respond to a certain psychology in attraction and seduction. When you have elements of detachment in your interactions, you send a powerful subconscious message. I like you, but I don't need you. And that's exactly what makes a woman value you more. I often receive messages from men wanting to win back their exes. And in most cases, when a woman ends a relationship, it's because she's lost admiration for the man. She no longer sees him as valuable as she once did. In other words, she takes away his power. And here's the kicker. When a man becomes too attached, women feel it, even if he never explicitly says it. If you're always available, always checking her stories, always ready to go back to her, she knows you're still an option. And that energy of attachment makes her see you as less valuable. Why? Because attachment signals a lack of self-respect. It shows that you're placing your sense of worth in her hands rather than owning it yourself. Everything connects. If you want to rebuild admiration, the first thing you need to do is break this power dynamic where she controls your personal power. This means stop letting her have access to you whenever she wants. Stop being available for emotional support whenever she needs it. Stop making it so easy for her to reconnect with you. This is the first step to making admiration possible again. And while it doesn't guarantee she'll come back, it creates the possibility. A crucial lesson: never lose a woman's admiration. Losing admiration is one of the fastest ways to lose a woman. And more often than not, you lose it by handing over your power and self-respect to her. Another key factor in maintaining admiration, the ability to set clear boundaries and stand up for what you accept in a relationship. A lot of men, maybe even you, when they're in love with a woman, are afraid to say no. They're afraid to stand their ground in uncomfortable situations because they fear that if they do, she'll leave. For example, let's say a woman agrees to be in a relationship with you, but she doesn't want it to be public. She doesn't want to post about it because, according to her, what people don't know, they can't ruin. Or maybe there are other weird situations happening in the relationship, and instead of addressing it, you stay silent. You avoid standing up for yourself because you don't want to lose her. You don't tell her that, for you, a relationship should be public. This lack of assertiveness, both in terms of your own boundaries and in setting limits with other people, is yet another way you're handing your power over to her. And yes, setting boundaries can create conflict in the moment. But don't fear conflict. What's most important is that you maintain your self-respect and dignity in the relationship. Because when you hold on to these two pillars, everything else is just details. When you truly value yourself, when you cultivate your self-worth, everything else falls into place. So never forget yourself in the process. The 3 golden words. We've already covered the 2 key words that will make a woman forget about other men and see you as her number 1, connection and admiration. But I'm going to give you a 3rd one. A bonus tip that goes hand in hand with admiration but deserves to be mentioned separately: desire. Desire happens when, in addition to feeling emotionally connected to you, in addition to admiring you and thinking, wow, what an incredible man, she also feels intense attraction for you. And desire is something you ignite through words that are calibrated for each moment. There are certain words that create attraction in a first conversation, others that work best for a first date. And as things progress, you intensify this desire little by little. And when a woman starts having those kinds of thoughts about you, when she associates you with passion and excitement, it completely cements you as her number 1. That's the game. If this video brought value to your life, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more.